Hello, everybody. Welcome. I am so excited to be joining you all at the APAP conference. I will be there January 12th at the Hilton Hotel in the Regent Parlor on the second floor at 5:30 p.m. And just in case you don't see my name there in the corner there, my name is Darius DeHaas. Again, I am so happy to join you. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'll be doing at the conference, as well as a little bit of my background. I was born into a musical family, and it was a family that was steeped very much in jazz and popular music. And so the show that I will be culling from to present to you all is based a lot in my family musical legacy, but also the germination of it was from my work on the show called The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I don't know if all of you are familiar with that show, but it was a show that was kind of a hit on Amazon Prime. And I had the great fortune of providing the singing voice of this character, Shy Baldwin. And Shy Baldwin, who was not a real person, but he was a composite of these great legendary singers of the Golden Age. Singers like Nat King Cole, Sam Cooke, Johnny Mathis. And I had the great pleasure of providing that singing voice for 2.5 years. And I sang all kinds of stuff. I sang music from the Golden Age of music. I sang Broadway tunes. I sang some early R&B, and I sang original songs. And I was thinking to myself while I was working on that show, wow, wouldn't it be great to have a show that I could use this sort of as the launching of being able to talk about all my musical influences. Because what was so great about that show was, as hard work as it was so much fun. And I so looked forward to singing all these different songs, classic songs like they say that falling in love is wonderful. It's wonderful. So they say. And I sang things like, what a day this has been. What a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love. All kinds of wonderful stuff. And even I sang a Jackie Wilson tune. I want somebody to share my love. Somebody to hold me and give me plenty of. I want a woman. I want a lover. I want a friend. So it just ranged such a whole gamut of music, and what I also realized, what I think we need at this time in history is as much as we have such a rich musical heritage here in America and all the great performers, we still don't always pay homage to all the people. Yes, we know Frank Sinatra and we know Nat King Cole. Some of us do, but I think as the generations continue, we get a little bit further away from it, and people don't understand that all music, all popular music and jazz and everything, all of that, what we're doing now, all owes a great debt to what was before. So I created a series called Timeless, and this concert that I'm doing is from the Timeless series. And what I like about it is that the Timeless series explores different aspects. I am someone who has performed on Broadway. I am someone who's performed off Broadway. I am a recording artist. I am a concert artist. My first recording was of the music of a gentleman named Billy Strayhorn. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Billy Strayhorn, he was the one who wrote the song Take the A Train. You should take the A train to go to Sugar Hill way up in Harlem. He wrote that and so many other songs. So that was my foray into being a recording artist. And I knew with that beginning that I was taking on a big responsibility because the music was very rich, very lush. He, in fact, wrote a song called "Lush Life," and beautiful and interesting and complex, but also very accessible. That show really paved the way for me being able to go in different directions. Because Billy Strayhorn, even though he made his career primarily with Duke Ellington, he also branched out into Broadway and to all those things. And so I was very inspired by that. So I did that, and I did some of his songs that he wrote for the theater. And I eventually put that into a concert. And so I'm folding that into this concert series, the Timeless Concert Series. I also wanted to explore people beyond the Golden Age, people who were inspired by the Nat King Coles and the Billy Strayhorns and the Sam Cookes, people like Stevie Wonder, people like Donny Hathaway, people like Al Jarreau. I think we're in a really wonderful period in our musical history with young artists coming up who have looked to our great artists of the golden age, like a Sarah Vaughan or an Ella Fitzgerald, and really celebrating them in wholly new and original ways, but still going, oh, that person listened to Sarah Vaughan. Oh, that person listened to Ella Fitzgerald. Oh, that person listened to Frank Sinatra. Oh, that person listened to Sam Cooke. And what I am so, well, as you can see, I'm excited about everything. But what I feel I can personally bring to this is that I have my own personal family musical legacy. I was born into a musical family. My father was a jazz bassist. He is what I would call the quintessential sideman. And he played bass behind some of the best and brightest in jazz and popular music. He played bass with the great jazz trumpeter Chet Baker. He worked with the great drummer, our recently dearly departed Roy Haynes. They're on an album together called Just Us. He worked with Zoot Sims. He worked with the wonderful singer-pianist Blossom Dearie. He worked with another singer, Chris Connor. Worked with Dizzy Gillespie. Worked with Miles Davis. He also was the bassist for Peter, Paul, and Mary. One of these things is not like the other, but it was a good gig, and they were actually, as most people may know, they were one of the biggest acts ever to come out in the 60s when the folk movement took off. So he toured with Peter, Paul, and Mary. And then on my mother's side, my mother, Geraldine DeHaas, my father's name was Ed DeHaas, if I didn't mention him earlier. My mother's name was Geraldine DeHaas. And she is also known as Geraldine Bay. And she sang with my aunt, whose name is Salome Bay, as well as my uncle, Andy Bay, who may be known in a lot of jazz circles as I think, one of the greatest jazz singer pianists ever to live. But I'm biased. They sang together as a trio called Andy and the Bay Sisters. And as a little boy, I would listen to their albums over and over, and it gave me a very wonderful introduction to the world of music, popular music, jazz, a whole spectrum. They could sing anything, and they had a very unique, very deep, what some people would say, very roots grounded sound, which parlayed itself into being able to sing everything from a classic standard like Mood Indigo or Cole Porter's Every Time We Say Goodbye, to just full out swinging scat, like a song called Smooth Sailing. Do y'all know Smooth Sailing? About do shabba did be ah ah oh oh da 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 ah I shot with it I did it now, Smooth Sailing, which I just sang there, was actually done earlier by Ella Fitzgerald as a scat instrument. And I think it started out as a purely instrumental song. Ella Fitzgerald did it, and then eventually Andy and the Bay Sisters did it as a 3-part harmony. So that was what my introduction to music was. And it wasn't just swing, they sang everything. Leonard Bernstein, they sang Tammy from the movie Tammy. Do you know that song? Do you know that movie? Debbie Reynolds? I'm really dating myself, aren't I? But maybe there might be somebody out there who knows it. Anyway, so the point of all of this is to say that they have such a rich musical legacy. And in my Timeless series, in which I pay tribute to all these great singers and artists like a Nat King Cole or Sam Cooke or Johnny Mathis or Stevie Wonder, I also get to pay tribute to my family, Annie and the Bay Sisters. It's funny, I'm going a little bit off of what I was planning on saying, but I'm just rehearsing my Christmas concert, my holiday concert. And, holiday music is so varied and so interesting, and so many great standards have come out of that. And so I've been exploring those songs as well. But I also like to fold in songs that people may not be as familiar with. I grew up in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And along with all the music that I would get from my parents, all the jazz and all of that, I also got a lot of Broadway music, and I got a lot of stuff because my mother, after Andy and the Bay Sisters disbanded, and she toured with my father for a little bit, she toured as a solo artist, and then eventually started doing a lot of theater. So I also have a lot of influence of theater, particularly in the theater that I saw in the 70s, shows like The Wiz, shows like Pippin, things like that. And so that's why I eventually also became an actor as well. But growing up in the 70s and the 80s, I didn't want to always listen to what was just categorized as jazz, not knowing that jazz, being America's only original art form, well, jazz and maybe musical theater. We can have a discussion about that. But really, jazz is America's original art form. And from that, so many things have come, R&B and rock and all of that expression, all of that stems from jazz. And so in listening to music that I was really getting into, like Stevie Wonder, like Donny Hathaway, and then as I got older, listening to other artists, but also like, Carole King or Billy Joel, or as I got older and into the 80s, I got into the British artists, people like Peter Gabriel, Sting, Annie Lennox, who was of a group called the Eurythmics. And the reason I bring them up is because I just recorded a song called Cold, which was written by Annie Lennox. So that will also be an aspect of the Timeless concert, of which we will do a short excerpt of. So the cycle just goes on and on and on. And the influence, I would say, of the British, of the American artists, Black artists, and particularly on the British artists that I enjoy is undeniable. So I am going to fold all of that in, and I really, really, really hope that you join me at my showcase. Again, it's the APAP conference. I will be appearing there January 12th at the Hilton Hotel at the Regent Parlor, second floor, 5:30 p.m. Hope to see you. It has been my pleasure to just give you an inkling of what will happen, to sing a little bit, and I hope to see you on January 12th. So thank you. And to just give you a little bit of something. And I think this is a little bit of my Broadway roots. I was one of the original cast members of Rent, the Broadway musical Rent. Here's a little video. 525,600 minutes, 525,000 moments so dear, 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? Well, in daylights, sunsets, midnights, cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, and laughter and strife, in 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? How about love? How about love? How about love? Measure in love. Seasons of love.